Has this ever happened to you? I need to know I'm not alone. Has this ever happened to you? I need to know I'm not alone. 6 months. 6 months since Sarah. 6 months since the screech of tires, the twisted metal, the flashing lights reflecting in my rearview mirror as I sat, useless, on the side of the road. 6 months since everything went black. That's why I bought the house. Havenwood, New York. Population dwindling. Picturesque in that unsettling, Norman Rockwell gone wrong kind of way. Perfect for a man trying to disappear, even from himself. The Victorian was a wreck, but solid. 3 stories of dust, peeling wallpaper, and the kind of silence that hums in your teeth. An architect needs a project, right? A way to fill the hours that otherwise stretch into an unbearable eternity of grief. The first few weeks were normal. As normal as things could be, considering. I ripped out carpets, scraped paint, and started planning the renovation. The old house groaned and sighed around me, settling. I chalked it up to age. The wind whistling through gaps in the window frames. Then came the noises. A creak on the 3rd floor when I was downstairs. A floorboard that groaned under an unseen weight in the middle of the night. I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, convincing myself it was just the house settling. Old houses do that, right? But there was a weight to the sounds, a deliberate quality that sent shivers down my spine. The feeling of being watched started around the same time. It was subtle at first, a prickling at the back of my neck, a sense that something was just outside my field of vision. I'd turn around, heart hammering, but there was never anything there, just shadows stretching long and distorted in the late afternoon sun. Dr. Holloway called it PTSD, grief manifesting in auditory and visual hallucinations. She prescribed something, a little blue pill that promised to quiet the noise. I took one, felt numb and disconnected, and flushed the rest down the toilet. I needed to feel, even if it was fear. The whispers started a week later, faint, indecipherable murmurs that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. They were always just out of reach, like trying to catch a dream as it fades. Sometimes I thought I could hear my name. Elias, drawn out, a mournful sigh. I started researching the history of the house. County records, old newspaper articles, anything I could find. The house had been built in the late 1800s by a man named Silas Blackwood, a wealthy lumber baron. He lived there with his wife and 2 children, until the wife and children disappeared. Vanished without a trace. The official story was that they ran off with another man, but the rumors persisted. Whispers of foul play, of dark secrets buried beneath the floorboards. Havenwood had a history, a dark history, a disproportionate number of missing persons cases stretching back generations, hikers who vanished in the woods, children who disappeared while playing in their yards. The local paper, the Havenwood Herald, had a whole section dedicated to cold cases. My mother, Martha, lives about an hour away, near Albany. She's not all there anymore. Age, I guess. Little strokes. Sometimes she remembers things clearly, other times she's lost in the fog of her own mind. I visited her, hoping she might know something about the house. Havenwood, she mumbled, stirring her tea. Always been a strange place. Your father, he never liked me going there. Why not, Mom? Her eyes focused for a moment, clear and sharp. The land, it takes things. Always has. We made a mistake a long time ago. Then the light faded, and she was lost again, rambling about her garden and a lost cat. The figure. That's what I started calling it. A tall, shadowy form that I caught glimpses of in my peripheral vision. Always at the edge of my awareness. It never spoke, never moved directly towards me, but its presence was suffocating. An overwhelming sense of dread, a primal fear that gripped my heart and squeezed the air from my lungs. The first time I saw it, I was in the kitchen, making coffee. I turned to put the kettle on the stove, and there it was, standing in the doorway, a dark silhouette against the dim light of the hallway. I froze, unable to breathe, my heart hammering against my ribs. Then, just as quickly as it appeared, it was gone. I started seeing it more often, reflected in mirrors, lurking in the corners of rooms, standing just outside the windows, watching, always watching. Time started to slip. Moments missing. I'd be working on the house, and then suddenly, hours would have passed with no memory of what I'd done. Tools would be moved, walls would be partially painted, but I wouldn't remember doing it. It was like I was living two lives, one where I was aware and one where I was something else. Detective Harding, local PD. Young, tired eyes. He showed up at my door one afternoon, looking for a missing hiker. "Just routine, Mr. Thorne," he said, but his eyes held a question. "Anything unusual happening around here lately?" I shook my head, told him I hadn't seen anything. Lied. The look on his face told me he didn't believe me. He left me his card and told me to call if anything came to mind. I stopped taking the medication altogether. It wasn't helping. It was just making me numb, dulling my senses when I needed them sharpest. I needed to see, to hear, to understand what was happening to me. The symbols started appearing on the walls. Strange, geometric shapes drawn in charcoal. I didn't remember drawing them, but they were there, etched into the plaster, staring back at me with a malevolent intensity. Then came the complete break. I woke up one morning, lying on the floor of the living room, surrounded by the symbols. They were everywhere, covering the walls, the ceiling, the floor. My hands were covered in charcoal dust. My head throbbed. I didn't remember falling asleep there. I didn't remember drawing symbols. I just remembered the overwhelming feeling of dread, the sense that something was inside me, trying to claw its way out. I found the room in the basement, hidden behind a false wall. It was small, damp, and filled with the stench of decay. There was a wooden chest in the center of the room. Inside, I found a collection of old journals, bound in leather. They were written by Silas Blackwood, the original owner of the house. The journals detailed a ritual, a pact made with something ancient, something that lived in the woods, something that demanded a sacrifice. The disappearances in Havenwood weren't random. They were offerings. The figure wasn't just a figment of my imagination. It was a manifestation of that thing. It was drawn to the house, drawn to the land, and it was drawn to me. I confronted Mr. Abernathy, my neighbor, a quiet, unsettling man who always seemed to be watching me from his porch. "You know about this, don't you?" I demanded. "About the house, about the disappearances." He just smiled, a slow, unsettling smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Some things are best left undisturbed, Mr. Thorne. Some doors are best left closed." He wouldn't say anything more. Then, nothing. Blackness. I woke up in a hospital bed, disoriented and confused. The doctors told me I'd been found wandering in the woods, babbling incoherently. They said I was suffering from a psychotic break, brought on by stress and sleep deprivation. They wanted to put me back on the medication. I refused. I went back to the house. I had to know. I had to understand. I confronted my mother again, pushed her, pleaded with her. Finally, she broke. "It was our ancestors," she whispered, her voice trembling. "They made a pact, promised something in return for prosperity. The town, it thrived because of it. But the price was too high. The house, the land, the ritual. It all made sense now. I was connected to it, somehow. Bound to it by blood, by history. The figure was trying to, what? Possess me? Use me? I didn't know, but I knew I had to stop it. I tried to burn the house down, doused it in gasoline, lit a match. The flames roared, consuming the wood, but the figure appeared, standing in the heart of the inferno, unharmed. It reached out, its shadowy hand grasping for me. I ran. I ran as fast as I could, away from the house, away from Havenwood. I didn't stop until I reached the highway. I hitchhiked. I walked. I did whatever I had to do to get away. I'm in a motel now, miles away from Havenwood. I don't know where exactly. It doesn't matter. I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see it. The figure. Standing in the darkness, watching. I caught my reflection in the mirror just now. Something's different. My eyes, they look wrong, darker, hollower. I don't know if I escaped. I don't know if I'm safe. I don't know if I'm even myself anymore. Has this ever happened to you? I need to know I'm not alone. I really need to know. Because if it hasn't, then what the hell is happening to me? What's going to happen next? I keep thinking about Havenwood, about the dark woods, and the missing people, and that house. God, that house. And I can't shake the feeling that it's not over. That it will never be over.